don't have to be an obsessive collector or made of money to travel on a British design classic. Our next masterpiece of engineering would have taken you all over London in supreme comfort for a tanner. If it ever turns up, that is.
That's the thing about design classics. You wait for one for ages and then 3 turn up. The Routemaster is the ultimate double-decker bus. A double-decker bus fit for the double-deckers. Forget the new square things with folding doors, they're horrible. Think Reg Varney leering at dollybirds out of the front. Think Cliff Richard avoiding dollybirds out of the back. Think double-decker, think Routemaster. There had, of course, been double-deckers before the Routemaster, but they'd been rather rickety affairs. Not very fast, not very reliable, not very comfortable. Coming out of the Second World War, we needed something tough and fast and modern. Something more suitable for a teeming metropolis like London.
What the city needed was a bus that would tempt people out of their cars with the promise of speed, efficiency and comfort. Public transport with a hint of luxury, perhaps. Their prayers are answered with the Routemaster bus.
But who do you turn to design the best ever bus? Luckily, we just had a world war, so we were knee-deep in tank designers. Douglas Scott and Arthur Durrant turned from building state-of-the-art killing machines to redesigning the number 38 last stop Piccadilly via King's Cross. The pair led a team of designers and proved that if you can build a brilliant tank, you can build a brilliant bus. Independent front suspension, power steering, power brakes, and a fully automatic gearbox. These were bits of automotive engineering which were almost unheard of in those days and have only now become standard in modern vehicles. The Routemaster was lightweight but stable with a brilliant turning circle. It was fast, comfortable and amazingly reliable and durable. The only thing they forgot was a big gun turret on the top. The Routemaster bus hit London streets in 1956 and, along with policemen's helmets and Nelson's column, quickly became a symbol of the capital. It was a massive hit. Every small boy had to have a little red model Routemaster. It was given its own TV series. This is the bus we have to thank for Reg Varney and Olive and Blakey. And of course, Britain's Elvis, Cliff Richard, had to choose a Routemaster to ride across Europe, proclaiming the joys of male celibacy. One small boy, Travis Elborough, fell so in love with the Routemaster, he wrote a book about it.
Can you remember your very first meeting with the London Routemaster?
I think that my first kind of reaction to them was when I first moved to the capital and was just travelling around on them each day to get into my job in Islington. And I just kind of fell in love with them, these kind of beautiful objects.
You grew up on the south coast, I grew up in Cornwall, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but it was such an image of London. You know, it was the red Routemaster bus crossing Westminster Bridge, usually, what summed up London. What I liked about them, which I miss most, is being able to get on and get off whenever you like.
I think it's a form of transport in a way which treats you with a certain degree of dignity. In a way, you know, it treats you as an adult. You know, allows you the idea that you can get off this thing when you want to.
I was on one Holloway Road on Saturday, and you couldn't get off. I was stuck for about 20 minutes waiting to get to the stop, and it was so irritating. And I was saying to my boy, "You know, in the old days in the Routemasters, you know, we could have jumped off now and been run over by a taxi." Upstairs at the front was a big thing. If you get upstairs at the front on a double-decker bus, and you could pretend you were driving it.
But also the fact that you have the entrance at the back rather breaks up the sort of pattern of bus travel, where you don't have that kind of the cluster of the hard lads at the back.
Right, but I still used to feel a bit naughty going upstairs because that's where people went to snog or to
have a fag,
or to throw up, all those things that people did. One very important question I must ask you, Travis, is have you got any cash? It's just that I've got nothing on. He's going to come and ask us in a minute, isn't he? So between 1959 and 1968, 2,760 buses were made for London transport. Now, one of these buses can do 700 miles a week. That means over 50 years, that's well over 1.5 million miles.
In the golden age of the Routemaster, 6,500 of the things were buzzing around Britain, carrying a mind-boggling 6 million people every weekday. For many years, Britain ran on Routemasters.
come to Norwood Garage in South London to look at one of the very last Routemasters that was in active service in London. And of course, we're going to meet the god of buses.
Colin Curtis is the last surviving member of the A-team of designers and engineers who created the Routemaster. Who better to champion the world's most famous omnibus?
Now, Colin, I spoke to someone earlier who described you as a living god.
Some people call me Mr. Routemaster, but I think that's going a bit too far.
Mr. Routemaster, that's great. What we users of the bus love so much, hop on, hop off. It was a joy to run along the road like this and then jump on it.
Well, I think that's an advantage, and from an operator's point of view, passengers that get on that way save time, don't they?
Yeah.
And again, this gap here was to meet the emergency requirements.
Right.
If a bus turns over, theoretically you could get out this way.
Oh, I see, of course.
Fortunately, it's almost impossible to turn one of these buses over. The Routemaster drew on advances made in technology and design in World War II. Following the example of the Spitfire, the bus was built out of aluminium, which was light and malleable, so they could give the thing its distinctive curvaceous body. Inside, the designers created a light, elegant, friendly space, making amazing use of a very small area.
We were trying to encourage them away from the cars.
So this is to entice drivers away from the car.
Yeah.
Now, these are different because it started off with leather seats, is that right?
It's got down pillow inside, and I think it takes to your behind, but...
It does, actually.
Yes. And the other thing that we may not know about, the seating used to have leather edging to it.
I remember.
That was to allow people to slide in silk stockings and all that sort of thing.
I do remember that. I never ever once snagged my silk stockings when I was a kid. No, honestly. We Routemaster fans, what we love is the fact that you work the bell with a piece of string.
Well,
you probably don't call it a piece of string, you've probably got a technical name for it.
Well, no, I don't think there's any technical name, but it's not just rope, it's got a steel lining inside.
Oh, posh rope.
Yes.
We love it.
Yeah.
And if you're watching Mr. Livingstone...
Oh, now, cut that out.
Do you have to be fairly fit to drive one of these things, or it's quite easy
not
to...
really, no.
So I could drive one.
I think so, yes.
Except, of course, that it would be illegal. I wonder how Cliff got away with it.
This is so exciting. It's still exciting. You don't have to be a little boy. It's great to be upstairs at the front of one of these buses. Fantastic view. I mean, you drive around London and you never see anything like that. This is the best way to see London. You're upstairs at the front of a bus. And of course, the great thing is you can pretend you're driving it, which is what I always used to do, you know, driving it. In fact, you're just obscuring my wing mirror there. Thank you. Bloody pedestrians.